Well, hello, good afternoon, or morning, depending, I suppose, which time zone you're in. My name is Adrian Reed. I'm really pleased to say I'm joined here by a friend and colleague, Ara, who I've known for many years. So, Ara, you're a BA, product owner, executive coach, many other things. But today we're going to be talking about a topic for about 15 minutes, which might sound a little bit curveball, because I also know that you are a copywriter. And you very kindly agreed to talk to us today about copywriting. So, well, thank you very much for taking some time out to chat.
Hi again, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And my first question is really, what is copywriting? Because many people tuning in live or watching the recording will perhaps have heard the term, but won't know exactly what it means. How would you describe it?
I'm going to cheat and I'm going to borrow definitions from other people, if that's okay. The first one is copywriting is the mix of your experiences, subject matter knowledge, your ability to process information and convey it into a text with a purpose, and this is the key part of copywriting as opposed to writing, with the purpose of selling a product or a service. That's the first definition. And the second that I would like to share is a much more practical, to the point definition. Copywriting is the 24/7, 365 salesperson who negotiates, resolves questions, and closes sales every day. So copywriting does the selling when you're not there to do it in person.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm imagining now in my head, Ara, I'm imagining the text that's on websites, on brochures, on billboards, on posters, on pretty much everything that a customer is reading, whether that's online or in the real world. So what was it that particularly interested you about copywriting?
I have, I'm a very curious person. And I always end up learning all sorts of random things that appear random to other people. But underneath, I'm very interested in language. So in the past, I've learned English, of course, but German, French, Japanese for more than 15 years, and so
Wow.
on. But also language that helps you to do hypnosis, like Ericksonian language or clean language from David Grove. So,
Yes.
in particular, understanding how you can overcome limiting beliefs, how you can convince, motivate, support with the use of your language. That's a topic for another conversation.
Yeah, yeah, interesting.
But still, I was writing my own blogs, my own posts, and so on. And there was always this niggling thought that I could do it purposefully better. There was a trick that I could hopefully learn, and that made me want to go on a program and learn properly to be a copywriter.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting, and the sort of the Ericksonian hypnosis language, that reminds me of that perhaps there's an ethical question about ensuring that copywriting doesn't mislead in the same way as, there are allegedly language patterns that can mislead. You can sort of slip the sort of by now you'll know what you want to buy type of thing, slipping that's always the kind of cliche one, right?
Yes. So the idea is that with knowledge comes responsibility.
Yes,
So
yeah.
you learn certain techniques. You are not supposed to go in the wild and just start becoming a charlatan and manipulate everyone under the sun. You're
Yeah,
supposed to put yourself in a position where you're offering information and just raising awareness of people, hopefully accompanying them to make a decision, but not really shoving down their throat.
yeah, that informed decision. So that leads me nicely on to the next question, which is, I, I mean, I'm really intrigued as to the connections and overlaps between copywriting and business analysis, because if copywriting is about creating that compelling, compelling, connecting language which helps to sell, what would you say we can sort of take from that as BAs?
Um, I I have to tell you just a little anecdote. When I started learning copywriting, that's not the answer, but I just want to sneak it in. when I started learning copywriting, my initial reaction was, it's too late. Why are we doing all this now that it's the time to? I'm involved as a BA and a product owner. I make the product. I do all this that you guys are doing now to sell. I do it when I make the product. So what? And that's the answer. Copywriting leans on research techniques that are the same that we use for business analysis. So when the person who's writing the copy wants to sell a product or service, they need to know the buyer persona. So they end up using empathy maps, the proposition value canvas, buyer and user journeys to explain processes, and several other techniques, because they want to understand how their client, the seller, creates value for the user. What is the pain points of the user that they're selling, and how they do it in a unique way. So what jobs the user may be solving or completing thanks to the product or service. So that it's quite similar in the end.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And in fact, to prove I always have this at arm's length, I really do. But you'll recognise, I know you'll recognise this, right? But of course, because I'm boring and I remember things like this, there's a technique in BA Bot called collaborative games. One of the collaborative games is the product box game, which is where you draw a product box and you draw all the benefits, like how would you sell it? And like, actually, now I'm making the connection, right? You know, that's really an element of understanding not the features but the benefits. And when you're moving to benefits, you're moving into copywriting, you're moving into sales. So wow, there's more of a connection there than I thought.
They really drill that into you. Characteristics don't sell. People don't buy something because it's 10 centimeters long, 5 kilos of weight, or whatever. No, they buy the feelings. They feel safe. They save time. So it's exactly on the spot what you just said.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, one of the things, of course, as BAs that we always like is are like tangible tools, concepts, ideas, acronyms, all of these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to think about, and I'm sure there are lots and many, but what kind of tools and concepts or ideas might be useful from the copywriting world for us as BAs?
I have been thinking of. I'm a big fan of data modeling when it comes to doing BA work. So when I start on a project or I work on a new area, I like understanding the terms being used in that business, actors involved, events, sequences in those events, business decisions, and so on. And I think what you do with vocabulary when it comes to text is quite similar. There's a big, obviously you're writing, so there's a big emphasis on words and vocabulary. And what I would like to just make sure people realize is that words are used in two ways for copywriting purposes. One is for search optimization. You want to be found. You want to use the words that your customers or your users are using when they look for whatever it is that they're looking for. Transactions, information, comparisons, etc. But also the way you use words is not just for the robots behind those searches and those rankings and so on. You want to make sense of what you are communicating. So the message that you convey has to make a difference to the person receiving the message. It needs to open something up for them. And vocabulary, so terms, jargon, regional vocabulary, search vocabulary. Those are the concepts and ideas that I would like to highlight.
Yeah, and that's reminding me of, and it's interesting you sort of mentioned data model. I was also thinking about concept modeling and some of Ron Ross's work around having, you know, a common business vocabulary. And yeah, that's really interesting, really interesting. So thinking of everything you know about business analysis, product ownership, copywriting, what would your top takeaway be? Whether that's a tool, a technique, an idea, what would you hope that people tuned in take away from this brief chat?
I would like them to find out about one particular tool that surprised me, because I found it's along this vocabulary language topic that I've been weaving since the beginning of the conversation. And I think I would like to make sure everyone knows of this website that has a free feature. It's called Answer the Public. And when you have a look at this website, it allows you to do a search by some words. It can be what they say long tail or short tail. So it could be one word or several words. You could write that, look for copywriting, for example, just the one word. Or you could say, for example, I don't know what to say now, but like open your window. So you could put a little sentence in there and you pick a country, and it allows you to know what people from a particular country are searching for, or how they're using the internet in relation to this word or this little short sentence. And I find, because it breaks data visually by question, who, what, why, by prepositions being used, by topics. It gives you a lot of depth understanding of how language is being used online in a particular country.
Fantastic. And that was, did you say that was Ask the Public, Ara?
Answer.
Oh, Answer the Public.
Public.
Answer. I'll see if I can put that on. Answer the Public. And is that .com?
I think it's .com, yes.
Well, I'll put it up on the screen for those watching. Answerthepublic.com. So I've not heard of that, so I will be absolutely checking that out.
Visual. The result comes back quickly and in different graphics with a tree view. And you're a big fan of mind maps, Adrian.
Yeah, I really am. So I'm gonna love that, I'm sure. So, well, thank you. I shall be looking at that straight after. Ara, I mean, we could carry on talking about this for the rest of the day and then some, I'm sure, but we're very close to our 15-minute deadline. Always so short, these sessions. But how can people stay in touch? I'm sure people want to know more about you, will want to connect, ask questions, find out more. How can people connect?
I would like anyone who wants to be in touch to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I would be very thankful if you used your copywriting skills at whatever level they are in the present, but please write a personal message. Don't just click on connect. I like human contact as much as possible. And so feel free to say how you heard of me, or why you want to connect and what you think we can do together. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Ara. Really appreciate you taking the time to have a chat about such a compelling topic. One that I've not, until this chat, I hadn't really made the connections, and I want to know more now. So I'll be in touch even, I'm sure.
One more thing, systems thinking and this and that, all the time learning things.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about the global analysis and change community is I think everyone's here to help each other out. So thank you for taking time to be here today. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in live, or indeed if you're watching the recording. For those of you that aren't aware, I do run regular webinars as well as these shorter on-the-spot sessions. So if you go to blackmetric.com/events, you'll see everything that we have coming up. We've got quite an interesting webinar for the end of January is the next one. But other than that, all that's left for me to say again is thank you, Ara. Thank you to everyone who tuned in or is watching the recording, and for everyone watching live. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, depending on what you do or don't celebrate. But either way, have a great time off if you're having time off, and hope to see you all again soon. So thanks again, and see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.